Okay, so I've actually got a picture. With thanks to University of Teesside, our kind of motion capture suits there. But if you look down the side here, you've got about the industry, careers advice and job profiles, training and qualifications, loads of really useful information, job roles in computer games, finding work, production process, getting into games, so loads of info. That site is well worth looking at. The skill set are also, they've set up an accreditation, because you know so many universities now offering games degrees that it's difficult to tell which ones are actually any good, although Teesside is fantastic. But it's difficult to know which ones are any good because there's just so many of them about. But Skillset has set up this accreditation now for universities where they ask the industry exactly what skills they want to see students coming out of university with. And they'll kind of measure that against what the universities are teaching. They'll come in and kind of investigate what we're teaching. We have to have kind of question and answer sessions with them where they, we have to kind of prove to them that we're teaching what the industry needs. And then you get a kind of skill set stamp of approval. So we're just going through that process now. And there's very few universities they do actually approve. I know for animation they've approved 6 in the UK as teaching all the skills the industry sort of wants to see, and our animation course is one of those 6, which is nice. And, loads of info on there that should be very useful for you. Okay, where was I? 42 slides, sorry about that. Okay, so some of the best companies to work for also place a lot of info about life at the company on their website. So Blitz Games is a perfect example. Blitz and a few others also give you info on getting into the industry. So these 2 links here, what I'll do is I'll leave the slides so that you can actually sort of access all of these links. So would it be possible if I leave you the slides just to kind of put them up somewhere for people to download and read? So you can follow all of these links and check out the sites, check out Blitz Games, see what it's like to work at. Restricted.
That's like every day of my life.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, but check that out anyway. You can see what it's like to work at Blitz. Blitz are actually really great. They take on a lot of our students as placement students and then go on to employ them at the end of their degrees as well. They're kind of one of the best companies to work for, I think, in the UK because they've got a really good management structure. A lot of companies, the kind of smaller ones, they tended to set up, when people were just kind of making games in their bedrooms, and then all of a sudden these people were managers of game studios and didn't have a clue how to manage a studio. So some of them kind of moved on with it and learned how to manage a studio and took management training. But some are still just making it up as they go along. But Blitz Games actually kind of really well managed studio. And if you want to work in a specific area, you need to find out which companies are there. So there's these 2 very useful links here. GameDevMap.com.
Like 1 level.
But there's no way to view them, is there?
No.
Okay. Okay, maybe some of these others aren't going to work either then in that case. Okay, so these are actually, you can click on any area in the world and any areas of each country as well, and it will show you what games companies are in that area. So very, very useful. So if you think about the area you want to work in, click on the link and then you can find out what's there. A couple of them need updating a little bit. For example, in Newcastle, it's still got Pitbull Syndicate and Midway, which are actually the same company now. But very, very useful. It's quite bizarre clicking on really obscure places in the world and finding out that there are actually game studios there. So you need to do research. Research companies you'd like to work for. Make yourself a spreadsheet of the companies complete with contact details. So call them, find out the main point of contact. So ask for the kind of head of the resources or the art director. Get the contact details. Work out the company's previous games, their publisher, so which publisher they're working for, so you can kind of keep track, of how that publisher's doing, because that gives you an idea of, what's coming up for the game studio. If the publisher's not doing very well, then are they going to cut that game studio loose? Recent news as well, so do definitely subscribe to Develop Magazine to keep up to date on recent news relating to the industry. Read reviews or actually play the games of the company you're applying to. And you don't have to do much, just kind of make the gesture. When I got a job interview at Pitbull, I kind of went out immediately to Blockbuster and rented the Test Drive series and Demolition Racer, and then played them that evening, and then just happened to drop a few things about them into my interview the next day, and they were really impressed that I'd played their game. I didn't tell them it was just for 5 minutes. So make sure all the work you submit at least somewhat fits with the games the company makes. So if all your work is kind of photoreal first-person shooter type graphics, and you apply for somewhere that makes games based on children's cartoons, your application is just going to look random. It's going to look like you've kind of just picked out anywhere to apply to when your kind of work might not fit with their style whatsoever. If you really want to work at a particular place, don't be afraid to call the human resources person and ask what type of work they'd want to see an applicant submit. And a lot of them are happy to tell you that. A lot of them will actually put it on their websites as well. Bizarre Creations does it as well, lists the kind of things they want to see in your portfolio. Or actually with Bizarre Creations, it might be worth you doing this if you have a bit of spare time, is to actually go to their website. Go to the website, they've got a section on a test. If you kind of click that you want to do that, they'll send you all of this info. They'll usually set you a section of New York to model, just a little kind of block. They'll send you all of the photos to make textures from, and all of the reference material. So you'll kind of model up this kind of block of New York based on their specifications. So that way they can see anyone applying for a job there. They can measure their skills against each other really, because everyone's modelling this same section. Okay. When putting your work together, don't sacrifice quality for quantity. I've noticed that some of the interviews I did last week for Teesside Uni, there's some students with like really good work, but then they'd put some, just pants in it that they'd done, years ago, and just put it in there to fill out the portfolio a bit. And it's always the worst piece in someone's portfolio that sticks in your mind. So just put your very best pieces in. If you're unsure about a piece, don't put it in. An employer or university would much rather see a few awesome pieces than a CD full of pieces that range from kind of really great to kind of average. So the worst piece will be the one that they remember. List of games recruitment agencies as well that might be useful for you to have a look at. Again, a lot of them has information. A lot of them have information on how to get into the industry. But the first job I was offered in the games industry, I turned it down actually, but the first job I offered was through Aardvark Swift Consultants. So you basically send them your CV and some samples of your work, and they send it out to companies that are recruiting that your style fits with. They get paid. They explained it to me when I registered with them years ago. It's probably the same way. It doesn't come out of your wages at all, but they kind of match. The company has to pay, I think it's something like a quarter of your first year's wages. Say you started on 20,000, you'd still get your 20,000, but the games company would have to pay, 5,000. That sounds like a lot. Would pay, kind of like 5,000 to the recruitment agency. So it'd be a kind of percentage.
Commission on your wages, isn't it? Something like that.
Sorry?
Commission on your wages.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of based on your wages. It's probably a cost. That sounds like a lot now, so it might actually be less. But it will be kind of worked out on a kind of percentage of your wages, but doesn't actually come out of your wages. So some people don't like using recruitment agencies because of that, but then some studios would much rather not have the hassle of recruiting themselves, so they do use them.